Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make your Reginald Laurent inspired art. This is getting us geared up for Valentine's Day. And you don't have to make it love themed, but if you do choose to make it love themed, I am giving you 10 extra credit points for following the holidays, but you don't have to. You also have the option of doing a silhouette in your work, and you don't have to if you don't want to. It does kind of add a fun contrast to the piece. So here we go. I'm in Google Drawings. I'm going to title my drawing with my name. Okay, let's get started. So the very first thing that you want to do is change your background. I'm going to right click on the canvas, go down to background, and I'm going to make it black. Okay. Now I want to choose, do I want to do a silhouette in my piece or not? If you do want to do a silhouette, this is optional. I'm going to go into the shapes, and maybe I want to do something like a fun lightning bolt, and then I just click and drag. And there's my lightning bolt. I want to drag it so it's in the center. And I'm going to use my fill bucket to make it black, but I will leave my outline white. And I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. I'm going to make it 2 pixels. And there we go. If you do not want a silhouette, you do not have to do one. If you want to choose one off the web, you can. But just keep in mind that if you do, it's not going to have the option of an outline, okay? And so then you're going to have to draw an outline for that shape. So it could make it a little tricky. All right, so now that I have my silhouette in the middle, I'm going to go to the line tool. And we're going to use a new tool this time. We're going to use the curve tool. This works a lot like polyline, except it's going to make rounded shapes instead of flat-sided shapes. So same with the polyline tool. If I just click, 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 you see how it starts to curve an object? And then it fills it in. It's actually pretty cool. So I want to go around my lightning bolt and create shapes to go around the entire thing. I want to try and change up the shapes a little bit. I don't want to just keep repeating the same shape. I want to have lots of variety. And so I'm just going to keep going until I fill this in. Now that I have drawn all of my shapes, I want to make all of them have a white outline, and I'm going to make the lines thicker too, just like the lightning bolt. So I'm going to use my selection tool to click and drag to select everything. And I'm going to go ahead and choose the border color and make it white, and make sure that the line weight is 2 pixels. That kind of makes some of these shapes a little too close for comfort for my liking. And that's okay. If I want to make the space between the shapes bigger, If I double click on this shape, it brings up these little purple dots, and then I can click and drag and change that shape ever so slightly so that those shapes aren't touching each other anymore. You see that? Really easy to fix. Now that I have adjusted some of those shapes, I want to go ahead and color them. Now, when we think about Reginald Laurent's artwork, he used lots of different colors. So I'm going to go ahead and click on these shapes and choose some nice, fun, bright colors. What I like to do to make sure that I have a nice balance is I choose one color and I go around and put it in 4 or 5 different places. And then I'll change it up to another color and do the same thing. I'll go around and put it in 4 or 5 spots. Don't forget that you can always make custom colors. I don't really like any of these shades of green, so I'm going to go ahead and make my own custom shade of green that I like better. All right, now that I have all my shapes colored in, all that's left is adding some fun patterns. So it is a little time consuming to do, but it's going to really make it all worthwhile when you look at the finished product. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in just a little bit. And now I'm going to use various tools to create different patterns. I can put stripes on a shape here with just a basic line tool. And if I do that in one spot, I do kind of want to create some variety. So I don't want to do the same thing in every single shape, but you can have some repetition and do it in a couple different shapes around the board. It's just important to make sure that you're keeping the patterns and lines and things that you do inside each shape. You don't want to just put a line across the whole thing like this, because that's not what the goal is, okay? We want to try and keep everything contained in the different shapes. So I have a couple here that have lines in them. Maybe now I can do something with polka dots. So I can click and drag to make a circle, and I can just copy and paste. Right, so maybe now I want to do some more polka dots, but put them in another area. You also can change up the colors of these if you want as well. Like these polka dots, they don't necessarily have to be this default blue-gray color that the shapes create. That is obviously going to take you some more time. So if you really want to change up the colors on those, more power to you. And here you have it. Here is my finished piece. I think it looks pretty fun. I tried to include lots of different patterns, but space it around. And I did leave some of them blank, and that's perfectly fine. I do want to see you try to include a lot of pattern and variety, but you don't have to do every single shape. That's if you want to, you are more than welcome to. But I'd say at least half of them. And it turns out pretty fun. It gives you lots of things to look at when you're looking at the piece. All right, so I can't wait to see what you guys create. Have fun.